The Cave. At the beginning of Tony Stark's journey in the MCU, he had to face one of the most traumatic experiences of his life. During a trip, he was kidnapped and locked in a cave, surrounded by criminals who were using the very weapons his own company had built. That was the first time Tony truly felt the real consequences of his actions. With no resources, he had to improvise a crude suit of armor to escape. But more than that, that was where the seed of a new man was planted. Tony realized that if he kept living irresponsibly, he'd put his life in danger again, and that's why throughout the movies he started investing heavily in safety measures, not just to protect himself, but also the people he loved. This lesson showed up years later when he installed trackers in his suits, as we saw when Peter Parker discovered the GPS in his costume.
Peter, why are we removing the tracker from your suit?
It was in that dark place that Tony stopped being just a genius and started becoming a true hero. Flight stabilizers. When Tony Stark started working on his first real armor, the Mark II, he was in an improvised lab testing every single detail. In one of the most iconic scenes, everyone thought he was just fooling around with his hand repulsors. But in reality, Tony was about to fix a fundamental flaw, the lack of stability during flight. When he activated the wrist thrusters, he was surprised by the strength and unexpected control they gave him. The result was so good that he immediately realized the potential of using them as flight stabilizers. It was a simple solution, but one that completely changed how he controlled his suits in the air. Before that, Tony had trouble keeping balance, especially when trying to hover or change direction quickly. That mistake could have cost him dearly in a real fight. By turning that early failure into a new system, he created one of Iron Man's most iconic features. These stabilizers became a core element of the armor, allowing Tony not only to fly with precision, but also to shoot and maneuver at the same time, something crucial in aerial battles. Frozen armor. In one of the tensest moments building the Mark II, Tony decided to take his new creation on a bold test flight, going as high as he could. Everything seemed perfect until suddenly, the armor began to freeze. The visor fogged up, the systems locked, and Tony completely lost control. He plummeted from the sky, learning the hard way that technology without preparation can fail at the worst possible time.
The ice stop, Jarvis! Deploy flaps! Jarvis?
The mistake was clear. He hadn't considered the effects of low temperatures at high altitudes. The metal couldn't handle the sudden climate change, and the internal condensation made things worse. That accident could have been fatal, and it became one of Iron Man's most important lessons. To fix it, Tony ran new material tests and developed a solution. He replaced the original alloys with a mix of titanium and gold, which had a much lower freezing point and excellent heat conductivity. That change not only removed the risk of freezing, but also made his suits far more reliable for long flights and extreme conditions. Suit delay. During the intense fight against Whiplash on the Monaco racetrack in Iron Man 2, Tony Stark found himself in a situation that almost cost him his life. Caught in the chaos, he was at a huge disadvantage because his suit wasn't nearby. As the villain attacked, Tony had to wait precious seconds for Pepper to throw him the suitcase so he could finally suit up. Way too long when someone's trying to kill you. That moment was a real wake-up call. Tony realized that no matter how advanced his tech was, it was useless if he couldn't use it at the right time. The delay to suit up was a serious flaw, a dangerous gap his enemies could exploit. Determined to make sure it never happened again, he started working on a new system. The first solution came with the Mark VII, equipped with a special wristband that remotely summoned the armor, allowing it to fly straight to Tony and attach automatically. But Tony didn't stop there. This idea evolved into nanotechnology, seen in the Mark L suit, allowing the armor to instantly form around his body. Tony also developed nanotech gloves with mini arc reactors built in. These gloves worked as an emergency armor, offering minimal protection and enough energy to withstand attacks until the full suit could assemble. No redirection. In the Avengers, Tony Stark faced one of Marvel's most powerful heroes, Thor. In the middle of a forest, while arguing about Loki, the god of thunder struck Iron Man with a lightning bolt. The armor absorbed the electric blast, but Tony had no system to redirect it. The result was chaotic. Even though the power temporarily boosted his repulsors, it all happened in a raw, uncontrolled surge. Tony realized he was wasting massive amounts of energy and leaving himself vulnerable if the attack had been stronger or repeated. That moment stuck with him as a major strategic failure. Years later, when designing the Mark 50 suit, Tony fixed it. He added a lightning refocus system capable of converting extreme electrical energy into offensive power. With that upgrade, what had once been an unexpected hit from Thor became a weapon he could use to his advantage. Now, Tony could use lightning and electric blasts as fuel for his own attacks. The biggest trauma. During the Battle of New York, Tony Stark faced a critical situation. To stop the city from being destroyed, he redirected a missile straight into the Chitauri portal. The risk was enormous. After passing through the portal, Tony barely made it back. That moment was a clear sign that his technology needed to evolve, especially for high-risk missions. Learning from the experience, Tony developed the Mark 42. This armor featured autonomous propulsion and remote control, allowing him to activate and guide every piece from anywhere, even without being inside the suit.
Come on. Let's go to you.
That innovation greatly increased his survival chances in extreme situations, making it possible for him to face danger without depending solely on his physical presence. Lack of support. Still, during the New York invasion, Tony Stark realized a huge limitation. Protecting civilians and keeping control of the situation was nearly impossible, even with the entire Avengers team working together. He understood that relying only on his presence and direct help from his teammates wasn't enough. To handle large-scale threats, he needed reinforcements that could act autonomously and support his combat strategies. The solution came as the Iron Legion, a fleet of armors Tony could control remotely.
This quadrant is unsafe. Please back away. We are here to help.
This innovation allowed him to cover larger areas, protect civilians, and respond quickly to multiple threats at once without having to be everywhere at the same time. The Hulkbuster. Also in Avengers, Tony Stark saw Hulk lose control, causing massive destruction. It wasn't a direct mistake of his, but Tony realized that brute force alone wasn't enough to handle internal threats. He needed a specific plan for situations where allies could become dangerous. The answer came in the form of the Hulkbuster, a suit built specifically to neutralize Hulk in case he ever lost control again. The project was developed in collaboration with Bruce Banner, combining Stark tech with Hulk's own knowledge to create containment and combat systems that balance strength and safety.
Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep.
Lack of stability. During the battle in Avengers Age of Ultron, Tony Stark had to drill into the core of Sokovia, and the scene made a serious problem clear. He had to balance himself with one hand while operating with the other. That moment showed that in extreme situations, relying on his own balance was risky and inefficient. For future missions, Tony realized he needed a system that could guarantee stability on any surface or in any condition. The solution came in the form of integrated anchoring systems in his later armors, allowing him to latch onto objects, surfaces, or even moving ships. This innovation not only improved his combat safety, but also boosted his operational efficiency, letting him focus completely on critical actions without worrying about staying balanced. Powerful weapons. During the fight with Aldrich Killian in Iron Man 3 and later against Hulk in Avengers Age of Ultron, Tony realized a serious flaw in his arsenal. His traditional repulsors and missiles simply weren't strong enough to deal with extreme-level enemies, especially those with superhuman powers or massive strength. That limitation almost cost him dearly. When facing stronger opponents, Tony understood he needed firepower that matched their level. That's how, years later, the Mark 50 armor was born, equipped with more powerful energy weapons, modular cannons, and blades formed through nanotechnology. With this new level of offense, Tony managed to fight Thanos, showing just how much he had evolved since those early battles.
Where'd that come from?
Failure in the cold. During the invasion of Killian's base in Iron Man 3, Tony faced a serious problem. His suit simply wasn't built for freezing temperatures, even though he had already solved the altitude-related freezing issue. Amid the intense cold, the system started failing, compromising his mobility and key armor functions. That left him vulnerable and almost defenseless, a dangerous situation that could have cost him his life. That experience made it clear that he needed a suit capable of withstanding any hostile environment. The answer came through a full thermal system upgrade. Tony added internal heaters, reinforced insulation, and real-time temperature control. These improvements didn't just benefit him. When creating Spider-Man's suit, Tony applied the same technology to make sure Peter Parker could operate in extreme conditions, including high altitudes and freezing temperatures.
Mr. Stark, it smells like a new car.
Intense heat, going from cold to heat. During the battle against Killian, Tony discovered another weakness. His armor couldn't withstand extreme heat. In the middle of the fight, the heat generated by Killian's abilities was so intense, it melted parts of the armor, making it literally start to fall apart. That left Tony completely exposed in one of the most critical moments of the fight. It was a mistake that could have cost him his life, and Rhodey's too, and Tony didn't ignore that lesson. When developing his later suits, he added stronger materials and internal cooling systems capable of withstanding extreme temperatures without compromising the structure. Those improvements became clear in Avengers: Age of Ultron, when Sokovia began to fall and the friction with the atmosphere created insane heat levels. This time, the armor held strong without failing. Wife attacked. In Iron Man 3, Tony Stark made one of the most reckless mistakes of his life. After publicly challenging the Mandarin, he revealed his own home address, believing he could handle any threat that came his way.
880 Malibu Point, 90265. I'll leave the door unlocked.
That impulsive move not only put his own life in danger, but also the life of the person he loved most. Soon after, armed helicopters attacked his mansion, destroying everything and nearly killing Pepper Potts. That moment deeply marked Tony, showing him that his arrogance could have cost Pepper her life. It was then that the rescue suit was born, a special armor made specifically for Pepper. Unlike Tony's other creations, this armor was designed with protection and agility in mind, along with an impressive offensive capacity. In Avengers Endgame, Pepper used the suit with incredible efficiency. Weak defenses at the mansion. Within that same mistake, Tony made another serious one, underestimating his enemies and keeping his home's defenses limited. When his Malibu mansion was attacked, it was destroyed within minutes, leaving him exposed and without resources. Tony realized that if his own house could be taken down that easily, then any Avengers base could face the same risk. From that point on, he started investing in advanced defense systems, proximity sensors, automated turrets, and reinforced security barriers. What was once just a luxury home became the inspiration for the high-tech fortress used in the Avengers headquarters, making surprise attacks much harder to pull off. Low propulsion power. During the chase of the Quinjet in Captain America: Civil War, Tony discovered a critical limitation. His propulsion wasn't strong enough to reach fast-moving targets. He tried to keep up with the jet, but the limited speed of his suit left him behind. Learning from that mistake, he upgraded propulsion in future models. In the suit used in Avengers Infinity War, more powerful and efficient turbines allowed him to reach targets much faster, even in extreme environments. These improvements also enabled high-speed maneuvers in air and space, making flight more agile and versatile. Tony realized that speed wasn't a luxury, it was a strategic necessity. Low propulsion power was a weakness that, if left uncorrected, could cost lives in critical battles. Bad aim. During the fight against Steve Rogers and Bucky in Captain America: Civil War, Tony faced a serious issue. The targeting system in his armor was heavily damaged. That hurt his precision in both close and long-range combat, making it hard to hit moving targets quickly. Learning from that, he implemented an advanced solution in the Mark 50, a mental auto-aim system. This allowed his shots to be controlled directly by thought, syncing every projectile with Tony's intent, dramatically improving accuracy. The innovation changed the way he fought, allowing the armor to react faster than he could manually command it. Tony realized that an efficient targeting system wasn't just an upgrade, it was essential when facing powerful villains and multiple enemies at once. No safety systems. In the same movie, James Rhodes suffered a brutal fall after an accidental blast sent him crashing from high altitude. His armor didn't have any safety mechanisms to cushion the impact, causing serious injuries with lasting consequences. That moment deeply affected Tony, who saw firsthand the cost of a safety failure. He realized that if he wanted to have allies in battle, he needed to make sure they were protected even in extreme situations. That's when Tony started adding advanced safety systems to the armors. Automatic parachutes, fall stabilizers, and emergency protocols, including Spider-Man's suit. That change wasn't just technical, it was emotional. Tony learned that being a leader wasn't only about fighting beside others, but ensuring they all made it back home alive. Fragile helmet. In the final fight of Captain America: Civil War, Tony Stark faced Steve Rogers in a brutal battle. Amid the blows, Steve's shield hit Tony's helmet directly, shattering it with ease and exposing his face completely. It was a critical moment. Without head protection, he was vulnerable to any hit. That experience deeply affected Tony, making him realize that no matter how strong his armor was, his head remained a weak spot. Determined not to repeat that mistake, he reinforced the helmet in later models, making it more durable and capable of regenerating instantly during combat. That evolution became essential in the battles that followed, especially against cosmic-level threats. Struggling against Thanos. In the final battle against Thanos, Tony Stark faced one of the greatest challenges of his entire life, trying to contain the power of the Infinity Gauntlet. The weapon, powered by all 6 stones, was nearly indestructible and extremely dangerous, making any direct attack almost suicidal. Together with the Avengers, he tried to pull the gauntlet off Thanos' hand, but it was impossible. Knowing he couldn't just rip it away, Tony used his genius to upgrade the Mark 85's nanotechnology. He incorporated a system capable of tracking and manipulating the Infinity Stone's energy, allowing the suit to adapt in real time to the power they released. With that upgrade, Tony managed to steal the stones from Thanos, and in that final defining moment, he delivered the blow that saved the universe. On screen, there's a video where we show the dumbest decisions ever made in superhero movies. Click and watch. I'll see you there.